Hey everyone, this is Ryan from Badgerland Birding, and I'm very excited to be sharing with you the results from the trip report that we made from the first of the year birding challenge. We actually put out on our social media and our shorts channel and then a post on our main channel about getting as many people as possible to participate in the first of the year birding challenge, which is a tradition we always do to go out and see as many birds on the first of the year as we can. And we thought it'd be just really fun to have a bunch of other people participating too. And a lot of you showed up with a bunch of checklists. And so we're going to go through the breakdown of what we had or what our viewers and subscribers had. Um, there were a few checklists that we weren't able to get in because people shared them in the form of trip reports where we didn't have access to share with our channel. So we were able to view the reports, but we weren't able to put them in. So we actually had a lot more checklists from the Colorado area and the California area that we weren't able to show in this trip report, which I wish we could because there were some pretty cool lists. Everyone in Colorado and California did a great job. Shout out to that Colorado CBC that happened. So we're just going to look at some of this stuff here and dive into it a little bit. You see here that this is the spread with the entire globe. So we actually had checklists from a lot of different countries, and we'll zoom in on a few of them. So we'll start down here, do a little zoom in on what we had in South America. So we had one from Argentina here. And then we had one over here from Chile, which is pretty cool to get some from South America. And it was funny too, because when we looked at the total number of species and the different species seen, there was a lot from other countries, which some of them I wasn't even familiar with, which was neat. We did get one over here in Asia from New Taipei, Taiwan. So we'll just look at that one real quick because it's cool to have this one outlier here right there. Pretty neat. Whoever did that one, thank you so much for submitting that. And then we had a pretty good contingency of them from Europe as well. So we'll zoom in to Europe. Had a cluster of them from the UK, so it looks like somebody was getting out there in the UK and doing a good job on the first of the year. Chechnya, Germany, and then Romania was a cool one. And looking through all this stuff, it just really makes me think about what it would be like to go birding in these areas. And then we'll also zoom in on the UK one because we had some from different places here too. So that's pretty cool. So a lot of cool stuff from overseas and other continents. We'll get into also what happened in North America because that's of course where the bulk of our subscribers, I would say, are from. So we had some from Mexico, which was cool. We had some from Central America. So Panama, that one's really neat. El Salvador, Guatemala, and then Mexico, we had a handful. And then we also had this one over here from Mexico. So really neat to get all those from different continents, and then also a lot from the United States. We had a ton of different states represented, and you can see here that people from all over the place in the United States were out birding on the first and recording everything. Oh, also I forgot to mention Canada because we did have a lot from Canada. We had some up here from the Yukon area, which is really cool. Edmonton there, and then a lot of them from Ontario area. Let's zoom in on Ontario actually quick. I guess it was actually just a couple from Ontario, a lot of the other ones from New York that are very close, kind of blended together. So we had a couple from this area, which is neat. And then, yeah, we'll go back to the United States. We kind of covered every section of the country for the most part. From Florida, here's a bunch from California in a cluster. A lot from Colorado still, even without that one really big list. And then Wisconsin showed up too. So not only did we have all of our checklists from there, but a lot of other people from Wisconsin also had their checklists. And you can just see this impressive spread. We had Pacific Northwest over here. We had the East Coast over here, and a lot actually from the Maryland area, it looks like. Maryland, Washington, Pennsylvania. So that's really neat as well. And I'm just always fascinated by statistics, and it's really interesting to group everybody's statistics together. Oh, of course, Texas. How could we forget about Texas? Florida, a lot of stuff. Louisiana. Somebody did some work in Louisiana, it looks like. And then we can also take a look at the overall stats. So we had 222 checklists submitted overall with ours and everybody else's too. That was really cool. 478 species observed. And it's funny because this is our Badgerland birding account, so it's tallying 368 of those as lifers. Obviously not lifers that we saw, but lifers that everybody saw. So really neat there. And then some of the numbers really stood out as well. And it's cool with trip reports because you can break down what checklists they were from and you can see how many checklists included them. So it was a fair amount of checklists that only had one of them because we had some person that was birding in a country that no one else was birding in. So you look at this checklist, 1,000 pink-footed geese. And then we also had this one with 6 barnacle geese, which this was the only checklist that these showed up on. So that's really cool to get some of those species that would be extremely rare for us in the United States on the list because people are birding in other places. And it's worth noting that this isn't necessarily extremely rare in some parts of the US. Some parts of the US do get these geese, but definitely not where we live. Whooper swan, 202. A lot of different waterfowl here. And then one section that I thought was really cool was to look at the owl species that we're seeing. So I'm gonna go down to there real quick. So snowy owl, which we found one. Were we the only checklist to get a snowy owl? Looks like we were. Great horned owl, little owl. I don't even know where little owl is from. Burrowing owl, tawny owl, must have been somewhere not in the US. Saw-whet owl, barred owl. So a lot of owl species seen too. And it's just really neat to look through all of this stuff and see how many checklists we got, where they were from, and to just bring everybody together and bring everyone's statistics together to create this interesting thing. So just going back up one time real quick to look at the totals from this year, 222 checklists and then 478 species. And this was really fun. So I would love to actually do this again with some big days with everybody who's a subscriber of ours, and then a first of the year birding challenge again next year to see if we can actually collectively beat the checklist total and the species observed total would be really cool. So if you enjoyed doing this, comment below with what you liked, if you'd want us to do it again, if there's some other situations you'd like us to do something similar. And thanks again, everybody, for participating. It was really cool, and we're looking forward to doing it again in the future. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on Badgerland Birding.